Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to Astrology with Georgie. In this video, we are going to be discussing Neptune's ingress into the sign of Aries. This is very exciting. I'm very excited about this transit. This is a transit that nobody has experienced that is alive on Earth right now, because Neptune takes a very, very long time to orbit the sun, 165 years. And so it has not been in this sign since anyone has been alive. This is exciting. This is a fresh start. Now, before we get into the video, if you get some value from this, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future content from me and you don't get lost in the abyss of YouTube. And be sure to share this video with anyone that you think may benefit from it. I also do readings. If you would like your personal chart read, then my information is on my page. I am doing currently 15% off for Mother's Day. This is only valid until the 30th of March. So if you're watching this before the 30th, you can redeem that just by emailing me. I don't have a coupon button. I'm not that tech savvy. Sorry, guys. But if you email me, say that you've seen this video, if it's before the 30th of March, I will honour the 15% off. If not, then sorry, you've missed the deadline. But I do readings, and I do a variety of readings for a variety of budgets. So take a look at the information on my website, which is linked on my page. Now, before, so just to outline what I want to talk to you about today. So we are going to discuss briefly what Neptune rules, just recapping what Neptune rules. We are going to look at kind of what has happened since Neptune has been in Pisces for the past 13, 14 years. And then we're going to take a look at Neptune in Aries and what this is going to mean for your sign, what this could possibly mean for your sign. So a lot of information to take in, to take on. Like I said, we have not been alive since Neptune has been in Aries. And so this is going to be an exciting energy. Sorry, I'm fidgeting, aren't I? Okay, so Neptune is one of our outer planets. So with the outer planets, things happen on a generational level. So, and it's much easier when you're looking back and you're thinking, okay, how has society changed? How have cultures changed? How has the globe changed on a generational level over a certain amount of years? And then we can kind of tie it in with the planets and what they have been doing. So Neptune rules our dreams, our ideals. It is a planet of spirituality. Now, the glyph of Neptune, this little thing here, this is a trident. Neptune was the god of, is symbolized by the god of the sea, Poseidon. And so imagine a trident. This is the spiritual, on top of the spiritual cross. This is connecting the spiritual realm to the realm of reality. This is kind of, imagine a sea god digging his trident in and then just connecting to everything above. That is what this symbol, this glyph represents. Connecting to everything spiritual, connecting our reality to the spiritual realm, and actually wanting to escape from reality, wanting to have that channel up into whatever you want to call it up there. That is the symbol of Neptune and the symbol of Pisces as a sign as well. So think all things spiritual, think metaphysical, think intuition, empathy. Neptune wants everyone to be as one. It is a sign of empathy. It's kind of like, I like to describe it as like a Jesus energy, where you are kind of healing all and seeing all as equal and being kind and generous and charitable. The word charity is associated with Neptune. Neptune is associated with places of worship, whether this is a spiritual church, a religious church, places of confinement, places of solitude, places where you can go within. It's meditation, it's energy healing, it's everything that is not physical, like I have said. It's magic. It rules magic. It rules screens, television, photography, all bodies of water. It's our dreams. It's quite literally the dream world, but it's also our dreams as in our imagination and our aspirations for the future. It's our fantasies. It's the fantasy land. It rules film. It rules culture and art and mysticism. Everything that is going on in our imagination is ruled by Neptune. And Neptune is also the higher octave of Venus. So it's very romantic. It's very creative. It rules the arts, so poetry, quite literally art, music, any way that we can get lost in our minds. Neptune rules that. It rules mental health, mental illnesses. It rules the liquids in our bodies. It rules all liquids. So alcohol, poisons, anything liquid form, Neptune rules that. It also rules, in terms of the more negative side effects of it, it's deceit. Neptune is the trickery, and like when we think of the word magic, someone that's deceitful, Neptune rules that. Trickery. And so we can't always see things so clearly with Neptune around. It's fog, it's confusion, it's deception, it's like a translucent is the word I'm looking for, translucent pane of glass. Neptune rules mirrors, but imagine like a foggy mirror, or a mirror where you can't quite see both ways through it. It's the confusion. That's what Neptune is. And therefore we have to kind of stay grounded when we're working with Neptune, because on the one hand, it has so many beautiful attributes to it, but you know, every single planet has its pros and cons, and the cons is we can't always see things clearly, and it does involve lies and deception. So Neptune in Pisces. Neptune has been in Pisces since 2012. So let's just think about how has society changed over time. Now, Neptune dissolves. It dissolves boundaries. Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune, lacks boundaries. Okay, Neptune dissolves things. So think of borders dissolving. Think of things dissolving, and think about how much, as on a collective level, on a societal level, we have been able to connect over the world over the past 12 years. Think of the internet. Think of streaming platforms like YouTube, like Netflix. We're all kind of watching the same things. We're all taking on the same information, because Neptune has dissolved the boundaries where for example, we used to have 4 channels on the TV. Now we have thousands of channels on the TV, and everyone is able to stream and log into Netflix, and everyone across the world can watch the same programs. That is bringing everyone together, which is very Piscean, very Neptunian, bringing everyone together because it's dissolving those boundaries. You know, think about how multicultural our societies have been. People's borders have not been strong enough. And, you know, especially in England, for example, and this could be different for different countries, you'd have to let me know in the comments. But, you know, this overflow of people coming in from various countries, and actually then it being an issue, you know, a lack of border control. I know they don't seem to have that so much in Australia. If you're from Australia, shout out to you guys. Love your country. But there's a lot of countries that seem to have you know, issues with border control, and this is kind of Neptune of dissolving the borders and people being able to just fluidly flow in and out. Think about the pandemic, bringing everyone together through screens, through Zoom. Everyone was locked at home or shut at home globally, but we were all brought together through this mysterious disease. Neptune rules mysterious diseases. Think about gentle parenting. Oh my gosh, gentle parenting has just soared over the past few years. This is Neptune, lack of boundaries, dissolving the boundaries and having empathy and listening to the child's emotions rather than being strict and stern, which is what, you know, our generation were brought up with. However, it's gone too far to the point where children's behavior is notoriously awful for teachers, and you know, young people's behavior is awful because people have not been asserting boundaries. So this is where you have to have the balance, and you have to stay grounded, because it's like Neptune has eroded all these boundaries. It's like there's too much of the gentle parenting and not enough of putting boundaries in place for some people, not all. But I just think that is so interesting, how, if you think about gentle parenting and how much that has come along. Think about the rise in spirituality over the past 12 years. You know, people openly becoming more spiritual churches, people moving away from religion and moving more towards spirituality. I actually was contacted by, they didn't choose me in the end, but I was contacted by the BBC, one of the radio stations, to talk, asking me questions about the rise in spirituality, and they were making a program on it. one of the BBC Sound things, because they've noticed this huge surge in spirituality, and people are actually moving away from the church and moving more towards spirituality, and that is Neptune in the sign of Pisces. So it's become a really big thing where people are being more open, and people are actually seeing science and spirituality as like a pairing more than they ever have before. Neptune in Pisces. There's been a huge increase in psychedelics, people doing ayahuasca, people doing magic mushrooms, all of this kind of, all of these plant medicines, cacao, all these different things to raise your consciousness and work with energy. This is becoming increasingly popular, to tap into your past lives, all of this karmic work people are doing. This is Neptune in Pisces, and it being normalized, Neptune in Pisces. So in a sense, it's really raising consciousness on a massive scale. But then you have to think about, where is it going too far? Where are people doing too much of this? Are people are using these medicines to just for enjoyment rather than actually for their own healing in some cases? So that's been kind of interesting to watch. What else have we seen? So a rise in gender fluidity and being accepting of all genders. This is also an interesting thing to observe. The rise in gender fluid, gender neutral, people not wanting to identify as anything at all, an actual lack of identity. Don't you think that's so interesting? And just being accepting, or being more open for everyone and anyone to actually be confused about who they are, I would say, because that's Neptune. It's putting a confusion around one's identity. And I think when Neptune moves into Aries, we're going to see that change, and we're going to see more of a, no, this is who I am, and less of a, oh, I want to be gender fluid. I'm not identifying with as anything. I think we're going to see less of that. So that's really interesting, this rise of different genders and people being accepting of things that don't necessarily make sense to everyone, is what I'm going to say. So I find that has also been very interesting. And also this element of remote working, I think I touched on that a little bit, but just being able to work from home and to isolate yourself more. And that has kind of continued, hasn't it, since the pandemic, this remote working through screens, such an emphasis on screens and connecting globally through screens. And this is a huge part of kind of Neptune in Pisces. Now, as Neptune moves into Aries, this is such a huge shift and such a huge change. So Neptune is going to move into Pisces on the 30th of March. It is going to dip out. Let me just double check the dates. So it's going to dip out. So it's in Aries. It's going to move back into Pisces around December, until the beginning of 2026. So it's going to move back into Aries come February 2026. So it's actually only going to retrograde out for kind of 2 months. So we're going to see this now. Now, you might not notice this change instantly. Obviously, this is a generational planet. This is a 14-year transit. Unless you have planets at the beginning of Aries, unless you have planets between, 0 degrees and 3-4 degrees of Aries, or Cancer, or Libra, or Capricorn, because then you'll be receiving a Neptune square or opposition. So you might see some shifts then. But basically, Neptune moving into Aries, before we move on to the personal stuff, is going to initiate a lot of new beginnings. So Aries is the first. It's the first of everything. It's the first sign of the zodiac. It is the baby energy. It is the Fool card in tarot. It is going on an adventure. It is starting something. It's the pioneer. It's inventions. It's running your own business. It's focusing on your identity and yourself. It's combative. It does rule combat and assertion. And so I actually think this is going to be a quite good energy in a way, because Neptune in Pisces has been so kind of fluid and all over the place. Neptune in Aries is going to bring a fresh energy. And so when we think about the things that Neptune rules, moving into the sign that is associated with initiation. I think we're going to see some new beginnings around inventions. So this can be initiations and pioneers and inventions around medicine, around because Neptune rules liquids. When I'm thinking kind of like medicines, like breakthroughs in medicine, I think we're going to see a new approach to medicines or hormones or mental health. And actually, something I forgot to mention just now, Neptune in Pisces, we've seen a huge rise in mental health issues. People, or not necessarily a rise in mental health issues, a rise in the understanding of mental health issues. Has this contributed to the rise in the diagnosis of autism and ADHD and people being diagnosed with stuff? Or there being a lot of information through our screens about possibly having these, and actually maybe Neptune in Pisces has encouraged people to, there's been a lot of self-diagnosis. There's also been a lot of fake news, which we'll just go back to that. Not knowing what the information that we're consuming, not knowing what's real and what's not. And there's been a lot of emphasis on what's healthy, what's good for you, what's not good for you, and all this information coming through. But then us not knowing what's fake news. And an example of this is, so Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO, he does a lot of interviews on there with health experts all over the world. I find a lot of them really interesting, but at the same time, I find some of them contradictory. And I know he's been penalized for spreading fake news over the past couple of months. And it's true in the sense of how do we know this is what's true? How do we know what's true? And I think there's been so much information coming through, and I've certainly felt it since Jupiter's been in Gemini recently, the past year. What is true around what's good for us, what's poisoning us, Neptune? There's been all this information around what's good, what's poisoning us, what's bad for us. And I think a huge contribution of that is Neptune in Pisces and all of this information coming to us through screens, but us not knowing what's true and what's false. And so I can't even remember where I was going with that point now. So as Neptune moves into Aries, what was I going to say? Oh yeah. Mercury's retrograde, guys, forgive me, but quite frankly, I'm like this a lot of the time anyway. I have natal Mercury retrograde. Always losing my train of thought. So Neptune in Aries is maybe going to see a beginning or a change or some sort of breakthrough in mental health, in working towards mental health issues, in solving mental health issues, especially for men, because Aries is a masculine energy. So we might see some information coming to light around men's mental health or around masculine energy. So whether this is things to do with fertility, with male energy, with masculine energy, some issues or some sort of breakthrough in terms of that, and some new information coming to light. Neptune is obviously the ruler of the sea. So this could be like deep sea exploration. Like I said, breakthroughs in medicine, pioneering around the art and the culture that we're taking, the information that we're taking in. So in terms of, when you're going to the cinema, when you're going to the theatre and you're watching things that are very inclusive, there could be a bit of more of a crackdown on niche topics, Aries, on things to do with the self. We might see huge blockbuster films around war and combat and those big male aggressive films. We're going to see more of that because Neptune rules the sea. Neptune rules TV. We're going to see more of these. So the information that we're taking on, but in terms of art, so a breakthrough in art, a new pioneering sense of art, that's going to be things that we haven't seen before. Okay, this is going to be more people going after their dreams, because Aries is a cardinal fire sign. It's very much about going for it. Do now, think later. And so because Neptune rules our dreams, there's a sense of going after what you want. So on an individual basis, there may be more following your dreams, following your heart, putting your plans into action, especially because Saturn is going to be here too. And less kind of wishy-washy, I don't know what to do with my spiritual awakening. There may be more spiritual awakenings coming, new spiritual awakenings, but people are actually going to be able to do something with it, put a plan into action, create a business around your spiritual gifts. We're going to see that probably from a lot of people. As Neptune rules kind of spirituality, religion, places of worship, we might actually see a new age consciousness coming through, whether it's a new religion, a new aspect of something that people can follow, a new belief system. And it could even be something like a new cult, like people following something. So it's not necessarily going to be good in that sense. You know, cults are not great, but you might see more of this, more cults coming up, and new beliefs rising. You're also probably going to see countries sticking up for themselves, so countries sticking up for their borders. So where things have been blurred and the boundaries have been blurred a bit, we are probably going to see countries, cities, towns taking back their power, saying, no, this is ours, this is mine, and asserting themselves. Now, yes, in the past, in history, if you look back what Neptune's done in the past, this can lead to war. However, learning what we've learned from the past, I don't think that we can presume that this is going to be war, although it could be. I think it's going to be hopefully more just asserting ourselves in a global setting, asserting what is ours, asserting boundaries. Now, Neptune is going to be supported when Uranus moves into Gemini, Pluto is in Aquarius. These energies support each other, okay? They're sextiling, and so they're not forming squares with each other, which is promising, even though we are experiencing, you know, we've shifted from earth and water to fire and air. So this is about communication. This is about assertion, less wishy-washy, but hopefully we've learned from the past. And so we can hopefully presume that we can assert boundaries, but in a healthy way, and kind of stay away from the combativeness of Aries. You know, Aries is about combat and it is about going to war. But it could also be, you know, Neptune does dissolve. So on the one hand, you could say, oh, you know, idealizing the idea of war is possible, you know, fantasizing, oh yeah, let's get this boundary back, and actually not seeing clearly about the ramifications of that. But it could also be a dissolving of what's been going on over the past couple of years in terms of wars in countries. So we could see a dissolution of that, especially with the North Node in Pisces. That's kind of what I'm hoping, because Neptune is co-ruling the North Node in Pisces right now, and it's moving into Aries. So maybe countries putting their foot down around what's right and around peace on that side of things, rather than going on a more negative side of things. But anyway, that's kind of moving into mundane stuff, which I don't tend to focus on too much, because my passion is more about helping you guys understand how this is affecting you personally. So I am going to run through the signs and what this is most likely going to mean for you as Neptune transits through Aries, through the Aries section of your chart. Now, be sure to listen for your rising sign. That's going to be the most accurate. You can listen for your sun and your moon as well, but the rising sign is going to be the most accurate, so do listen for that. So Aries and Aries rising. Now, you guys are obviously the key players here, because Neptune is moving into your sign. So at some point, you will feel this, because Neptune will be impacting your personal planets or placements, depending what you have in Aries. So Neptune moving into your sign. So your sign, your first house, this is your identity, your physical body. This is how you identify with the world. It's your life direction. It's how you show up. It's everything to do with you. Now, Neptune moving into your sign is, for some of you, you could have a massive spiritual awakening, especially as Neptune rules your 12th house of spiritual practices, your subconscious mind, what you do behind the scenes. And it's moving into the first house. So you could become more spiritual. You could become more empathetic and more gentle. You could take a gentler approach to life and just decide that you are going to either completely shift your identity, or the way that you show up is going to be different. So it could be that you're taking on more information about how to become more spiritual, how to have more faith. You could decide that you are going to learn a new faith. You could take up a spiritual practice. You could, if you already work with this kind of energy, this is going to help you become connected more to your higher self, listening to your intuition more, becoming more psychic in a way with Neptune in your first house. This can also this can soften and dissolve your current identity as you move into something new. So the person that you thought you once were, this Neptune transit, your identity could dissolve in some way and you could become a completely different person, especially as Saturn is going to come and join Neptune. So there is an element of completely reinventing the way that you are, the way that you show up in the world, or the direction of your life is going to take, like I said, a more spiritual path. You could be somebody that becomes more creative. You could tap into some creative art form, whether it's painting, whether it's pottery, whether it's creating. You are going to become more creative. And so the direction of your life could take a more creative destination in some sense. But for some of you, this could bring confusion and you could actually have a bit of an identity crisis and you could start to lose who you are or start to question who you are as a person. It really depends what's going on for you and what aspects Neptune's making to your chart. This could go kind of one way or the other. So it could be that you're having a massive spiritual awakening, or you're, deciding to take up you're going to train to be a psychic medium or something like that, and you're going down the spiritual path. But for some of you, this could just look like an identity crisis. And if it does manifest as that, then perhaps it is that you're not really being open to your spiritual side. Now, if you're watching this video and you have an interest in astrology, then great. You probably do have an interest in this kind of stuff. I think astrology goes hand in hand with having spiritual beliefs. So I think you guys will be fine in that sense. But when I'm thinking about people that don't know anything about astrology, they may have a bit of a shock with Neptune moving into their first house, and it can be a bit of an identity crisis, or you're just confused about something. Neptune can be dissolving aspects of your life, and there could be an element at some point of having to deal with loss and having to come to terms with something. And there being some confusion around, like I said, who you are and your body in some way. So that's just something to watch out for. Make sure that you stay grounded, and you can really use this energy to tap into your intuition and to really listen to your body and try and understand what's going on. You may be having, amazing dreams with Neptune in your first house. Listen to your dreams, because Neptune rules your 12th house of your dreams. And so it's bringing things to you. So you can listen to your dreams for guidance if you are feeling confused about the direction that you are headed. But I do feel like there's going to be a big shake up in your identity as Saturn joins Neptune as well. And so get ready for a rebirth. This can be something exciting. But make sure that you are listening and tapping into your intuition to help you in moments of confusion. Taurus and Taurus rising. So you guys are going to be having Neptune move into your 12th house. The 12th house is naturally associated with Neptune. So Neptune is very happy here. And this is going to bring you a deeper connection to your spiritual side. Now, for some of you, you can really work with this energy in terms of karmic healing, tapping into past lives, connecting to spirit, whether it's meditating or learning, new psychic gifts, anything to do with healing energy and tapping into your psychic side. This energy is going to really help you. You are going to become more intuitive, more dreamy, more inspirational, but it's going to be on a subconscious level. So you can be seeking some sort of healing. You can find yourself in places of healing more, because Neptune rules your 11th house of groups. So it could be that you can find yourself connecting with spiritual groups of people in some way. That could look like anything like breathwork groups, shamanic groups, sound healing, Reiki groups, basically associating with groups of people, but in a spiritual sense. And maybe you are focusing on healing yourself. Intuitive dreams can definitely come from this. Like I said, places of worship and solitude, and finding yourself in those places more, and having a deeper connection to your inner world in some way. Now, friends, making friends with more spiritual people, getting involved with friendships that are going to help you heal, connecting with those people and going to places of worship with friendships. You could experience friends moving to faraway places, or maybe you're making friends with people in faraway places. Fantasizing about faraway places is also possible. And just kind of wanting to because Neptune rules our dreams and our fantasies. Maybe you are fantasizing about the groups that you want to be a part of and your goals for the future, and there's this element of getting lost in your dreams and getting lost in your mind. There could also be an element, because Neptune can confuse things, where you could struggle with your mental health in some sense, especially if Saturn's going to move here. So there could be an elephant, hopefully not an elephant. There could be an element of just struggling with your mental health, or having to put more focus on your mental health, Taurus. And actually, as Saturn comes in and meets Neptune, maybe you're going to be more structured around mental health practices or meditation practices and looking after your mind, because Neptune we can get lost and we can be prone to escapism. So there can be an element of you wanting to escape from reality. So just make sure that you're doing that in a healthy way. Like, okay, sure, find yourself lost in books, find yourself lost in romantic films, but stay away from like substances and alcohol that is not going to serve you, because you could feel more called to that with Neptune in the 12th house, like an element of wanting to escape from reality. But really, this is a very spiritual, a beautiful time, and you can work with this energy, Taurus, in terms of developing your own gifts. So really great if you work in healing fields, in any form of energy healing, or wanting to help other people. 12th house is helping the misfortunate. You can really find yourself being of service to groups of people in a healing sense in some way. So there might be a new beginning for you, especially now Pluto's moved into your 10th house. For some of you, this could be career related, where you're really wanting to help benefit and help a group of people, or connect with a group of people around healing modalities in some sense. So Gemini and Gemini rising, Neptune is going to be transiting through the 11th house. So this is going to be brand new groups, brand new friendships, associations with other people to do with spiritual wellness. Your dreams and aspirations for the future can get a real creative flair. So you could be fantasizing about your career goals, fantasizing about your dreams, because Neptune rules your 10th house of career. So there can be an elephant. Why do I keep saying that? An element of, wow, what can I create? What do I want to move towards in terms of my career? And your fantasy and your dreams are really taking off. Neptune in this placement can also kind of dissolve friendships and groups that are no longer aligned with you. So if people, so your friends can disappear. Neptune dissolves. So friends can quite literally disappear from your life. And maybe it's a sense of, I don't really understand what happened. And there can be some falling outs or some confusion around friendships if they have disappeared from you. This could also be dissolving groups and associations that you are no longer aligned with. So if you work in an organization, if you work with a group of people, Neptune can actually dissolve the ones that are not meant for you, as you are working towards something that is more aligned with your soul. This is a very charitable placement as well. So for some of you, could be more called towards doing charitable efforts, humanitarian work. For some of you, reaching out and helping the less fortunate on a global scale in some way. You could be known and be seen as a more spiritual and more gentle and more empathetic person. Your reputation around the groups that you were involved with can change, and you can be aspiring to be somebody that is better, aspiring to move into something new or to serve people in a new way. What else do I want to say about that? Making new friendships can definitely be possible as well. Making new friendships through work, making new friendships, and these people, making friends with spiritual people, meeting people that are energy healers, meeting people that meditate, meeting people that just have that more gentle and Neptunian side to them, but also being blindsided by friends as possible, because Neptune is the trickster. So just be careful that people are not deceiving you and being deceptive in some way. That could also possibly show up. But really, this is going to be a transit where your goals and your dreams and your aspirations are going to grow, and you're going to have beautiful overreaching goals for the future, but you just have to make sure that you know how you're going to get there, because it can be a sense of, wow, I'm going to be a millionaire. Okay, but how are you going to be a millionaire? So you have to kind of be realistic about the goals that you're setting. But as this is in the sign of Aries, this is action, and this is putting action towards your goals. And as Saturn comes and joins Neptune too, there's an element of okay, let's put our goals into reality, and you will be able to work towards that and use your imagination and use your creativity to kind of work towards your goals. Cancer and Cancer rising. So Neptune is going to be ingressing into your 10th house of your career. So this is going to be different for everyone. This house is about your legacy. It's about what you're creating, the goals you're working towards. It is your career if you're still working. If you're not working, it's about your status, your reputation, your public image. So Neptune moving here, on the one hand, you can be seen even more as a more spiritual individual. You can be seen as somebody that's empathetic. You can be seen as somebody that is healing. So it could look like a career, a change in career, or some shifts in your career to do with being of service to the masses in a spiritual way, being seen as somebody that people can talk to, being seen as somebody that can heal. So for some of you, it would look like a career involved in the healing and the energy arts, for example, Reiki, mediumship. It could look like, you know, becoming psychic. Saturn's going to move here too. So becoming psychic and becoming known for that for some of you. The reputation that you currently have can dissolve in some way. So for some of you, especially as Saturn comes on, there can be some changes in your career, because if you're not in the right career, Neptune will dissolve that. So there can be some dissolution around what you're currently known as, and changes to your public reputation, changes to the way that you are seen, changes to your status as well. Neptune rules your 9th house of legal matters. So for some of you during this transit, it can be that you get married or you get divorced. Saturn's going to be here, so it's like putting your dreams into reality. So yes, it could look like marriage, parents, becoming a parent, becoming a grandparent can happen under this transit, because Saturn's going to come along, and it's like your dreams, Neptune, about your public image and your reputation and what you want to be, are going to be put into reality when Saturn comes along. So if you have aspirations to become a parent, if you have aspirations to change your career, then that can happen under this Neptune transit. It can be that what you are learning, you are going to start to implement in your career. So everything that you're learning at the moment, you can start to implement that into your career. It can be that you are going to have to set some boundaries with your parents, because this is the house of parents, and Neptune coming in, there can be some issues with parents, health issues, mental health issues, confusion can start to creep in at some point. Remember, this is a 14-year transit. There can be some issues with parents, and maybe you're going to have to set the boundaries, or you're going to be responsible for them in some way. That's possible for some of you. But really, it's going to be about initiating something and putting action towards your goals, Cancer. So whatever your goals are, you're going to have big aspirations for where you're headed. And Saturn's going to help you put that into reality. And whether it be that you become a spiritual healer, or you just have these big ideas around your career or around what you're building, even if you're not working. So say you're retired, maybe you're just building something. Whatever you're working towards, Neptune's like got these massive crazy ideas. Your imagination is going to be like, wow, I want to do all these things, and Saturn's going to come along and it's going to help you put those things into place. So I mean, this is going to square you at some point, depending on where your planets are in Cancer. So it's not going to be plain sailing. There's going to be a point of tension where you are going to, maybe for some of you, be confused about where you're headed. Maybe you're going to be confused about your career. Do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? And there's going to be this element of confusion, but it won't always be like that. You just have to ground yourself, and you have to ask yourself, what do I truly want? Saturn's going to help you decide, and then you're going to have to start putting the practical steps in place. And it might not feel as easy the whole time, but it's going to be a process that you have to go through, and eventually you're going to come out, especially if there's Saturn transit, maybe with a completely different identity. Leo and Leo rising. So Neptune is moving into your 9th house of beliefs, higher education, higher learning. This is the house of travel. So you are going to have big ideas, forward motion and movement in terms of what you believe in. So you might have a real shift in your beliefs, a real shift in and a change in faith. So for some of you, this is going to be a complete 180 around your current belief system. It can be that you are going to be somebody that starts to pray. You're going to be somebody that starts to manifest. You're going to be somebody that starts to study astrology, or you're going to start studying or moving into just having faith in a complete new sense of the word. Maybe you were somebody up until this point that didn't have much faith, and now your faith is going to be supersized. This is going to look different for everyone, but Neptune rules your 8th house of mysticism, of metaphysics, of joint finances. So there can be, because this is legal matters, there can be some dissolving of one's intimate relationships, dissolving of one's finances to do with legal matters, I would say, over the next 14 years. So it can be that if you're married, you could get divorced because this is the house of intimacy. This is your joint finances, your joint contracts, everything joint comes under the 8th. As Neptune moves into your 9th house in the sign of Aries, which is new beginnings, and this is the sign of legal matters, and Neptune dissolves, there's going to be an element for some of you of letting go of intimate relationships and working through legal matters to do with that. You could want to learn. You could be developing your psychic gifts. You could be developing your connection to tarot, to astrology. For a lot of you, there's going to be this need. There's going to be this need to go deeper and for higher education. But maybe you're going to be learning something spiritual. Maybe you're going to be broadening your horizons around what it is that how you see the world, broadening your perception and your perspective of the world. The 9th house is our world view. So there can be a brand new beginning for you in how you view the world. For some of you, you're going to be traveling to mystical, magical, faraway places, to places that are beautiful and bring you awe and heal you. That you can be traveling to places that are going to heal you at some point. Meeting teachers or gurus that are going to change your beliefs, strongly change your beliefs through the people that you're meeting with. It could be therapists, it could be astrologers, it could be a coach, an online coach, someone that is going to shift your beliefs in a very healing way. Okay, now this house actually trines you. This is a house that trines you and a sign that trines you. So this is going to be, adventurous. There's going to be positive for you. But Neptune does dissolve. So there is going to be an element of letting go of beliefs that no longer serve you, and also certain intimate relationships that no longer serve you in terms of any legal ties. But this is, you're going to come out of this transit and you're going to have a broader perspective of the world. And also, if you're learning, or you could also be publishing or doing something really creative out in the world. So whether you're whatever you're working on, whether you're working with another person, whether you are learning something, studying something, you could be studying or doing something creative, or you could be working in television or broadcasting something in terms of screens or television. That's also possible because Neptune rules those things, and the 9th house is about broadcasting. So you could be getting creative and putting your talents out into the world in some way during this transit. Virgo and Virgo rising. Neptune is moving into your 8th house. Neptune has been in your 7th house since 2012. So this has been bringing or has brought changes within your relationships, I would say. It may have brought you spiritual relationships. It may have brought you confusion within your relationships. But now Neptune is moving into your 8th house. And this is where we get intimate and we get deeper with the people in our lives. This is the house of intimacy. This is contracts. This is joint finances. This is going deeper. It's the house of sex. And Neptune moving here is bringing you a deeper connection with those people, a more spiritual connection. This is like soulmate vibes, possibly for some of you. Or it can bring, because Neptune also rules this house, a dissolving of relationships for some of you, a dissolving of joint finances. Maybe you have got these big ideas around borrowing money, big ideas around what you want to get a loan for, what you want to do this for, and it's tying in your partner or other people. So contracts, business partnerships, maybe going into partnership with somebody. Just be careful because Neptune, you can't necessarily see things clearly. So just make sure that you are seeing things clearly, thinking things through. Saturn is going to come and join this, so it's going to help you become more responsible. But there is an element of probably borrowing money for something to do with a partner, whether it's extending your home, whether it's buying a car, whether it's discussing joint finances. There's going to be focus on this. Neptune is our dreams, it's our imagination. So like I said, dreaming big and starting something new, Aries, around joint money, joint finances, whether this is fantasizing about like what are your dreams with your partner, fantasizing. This is things like, we could win the lottery, we could do this, and having all these big ideas around what you could do with joint money. But then Saturn's going to come along and it's going to ask you to put these dreams into reality. So it could be that you're borrowing money for something, going to look different for everyone. And the 8th house is, yes, it's the house of intimacy, but it's the house of our secrets, our psychology. It's also the house of our reproductive system. So I do feel like there can be some confusion around this, because Neptune tends to confuse things and we can't see things clearly. So maybe some confusion around conception or confusion around intimate topics. On the one hand, like I said, this can be very healing and can bring you closer together with someone. But on the other hand, it could be a sense of not knowing what's going on with you and a partner, and there being an element of confusion in those intimate topics in some way. It can also be healing in terms of this is the house of psychic, taboo, tarot, the occult, all these dark topics that we don't talk about, our secrets, our fears. Everything buried below the surface comes under the 8th house. So as Neptune moves in here, maybe you are healing something. Maybe you are going to see a psychic that's going to help you talk to a loved one. Maybe you are tapping into your own psychic gifts. Neptune here can actually help you develop psychic gifts, and it can help you really get into the depths of yourself. It could be, like I said, that you're speaking to a therapist, you're speaking to someone in order to heal something, because the 7th house is all of our one-on-one relationships and connections. And with Neptune ruling this and moving into the 8th, you can be going deeper with a person. So it doesn't have to be your partner, it can be a therapist, a best friend, having deeper connections in some way. But there is an element of confusion about something. So that's just something to be aware of. Not necessarily always seeing things clearly with our joint resources, with our reproductive system, with our intimate connections. But Neptune is bringing us hope and dreams, and this is where we can fantasize, but it's where we can transcend. So you can transcend your joint finances, you can transcend your psychic gifts, you can transcend your healing, and you can heal and let go. The 8th house is one of the places where we heal and we let something go. So this can be quite a healing transit for some of you, depending on your own personal charts. And you can use this energy in a magical way, but whilst being careful about joint resources and just making sure that you are just being sensible, which you're a Virgo, you're going to be sensible about things. So I don't think really you need to worry about that. But if, for example, if you've got personal planets in the 8th house and Neptune's going to conjunct them, just be careful when you're doing, if you're doing any joint, just be careful when you're making purchases or joint or investments. If Neptune's making any aspects that are unfavored, so if Neptune's making a square to anything, or like if you've got Saturn there, like Neptune's going to come along and it's going to, well, Saturn and Neptune can actually work well together, so maybe that's not a good example. But say you've got Chiron there, I would just be careful with kind of borrowing money if Neptune is going to conjunct it. So it depends on your own chart. But in terms of money, just be a bit careful with things. It's dissolving things. So it's dissolving. So for example, it can be if you have loans, borrowed money and loans, Neptune can either get rid of those in a sense that you can pay things off, or you're just not seeing things clearly if you're borrowing money. So just be careful around joint money, because we can't always see things clearly. But at the same time, this transit can help you use your imagination and help you move forward in a sense. So it's going to come along and say, right, well, this is an option, and actually maybe we can do this, and it's going to give you an idea around how you can move forward in a certain area. I'm blabbering now, but hopefully you get the gist. Okay, Libra and Libra rising. Neptune is going to be moving into Aries, into your 7th house of relationships. So this is an important transit for you, Libra, because this is your opposite sign and this is an angular house. And so although you might not feel it straight away, this is going to be a transit where you may not necessarily see things completely clearly within your relationships. You can have rose-tinted glasses when you are meeting people, going on dates, you are fantasizing about the ideal partner. And so when you meet somebody, it may be that you think that person's perfect and actually they're not all that's cracked up to be. But on the other hand, this can also bring you a soulmate. This can bring you somebody that was always meant to be somebody. It can bring you somebody that's very gentle. It can bring you somebody that's very spiritual. It depends how self-actualized you are and how much work you've done on yourself as to whether you can attract that type of person. But this can bring you twin flame soulmate energy if you so desire. It can dissolve partnerships. So it can dissolve and get rid of people that aren't aligned with you, best friends, people that you work with, especially because Neptune rules your 6th house of co-workers. So you may lose relationships, or you may be confused about the relationship in some way. Neptune confuses things. So it can be an element of a friend suddenly doesn't speak to you, or you've had a falling out and you don't really know what happened. I don't really understand what happened. And there's an element of confusion there that can happen. But it's probably going to be people that you work with or people that you are of service to. And this can be an element of actually you being of service to people. Could be that you are going to be a healer. You are going to work with people that are less fortunate than you. Maybe you're going to do some charity work. Maybe you're going to do some volunteering. Maybe you're going to volunteer in an animal shelter. That's definitely possible. Now, it could be that you are working with people to improve your health, healers, spiritual healers, energy healers, therapists, Reiki practitioners, acupuncturists, anyone that does any form of therapy that's going to benefit your body. You may find yourself being called towards these people as Neptune transits your 7th house. So like I said, rose-tinted glasses around people, potentially meeting a soulmate is also possible, dissolving of friendships and of partnerships that are no longer aligned. The 7th house is our contracts and our open enemies. So again, there can be a sense of people not liking you, open enemies, and you not understanding why. There's confusion around people and them deceiving you or you deceiving them, and there's an element of I don't understand why. Like I said, you may find yourself meeting very spiritual, very healing people. You can just bump into people and you find that you have a conversation and they're this real spiritual person, and you may find more of that happening throughout this transit. Like I said, healing your health through one-on-one people and dissolving of contracts. So just be careful if you're working with business partnerships and contracts, like you are seeing things clearly. Because like I said, Neptune is the trickster, it's the deceiver. So make sure that if you are going into business with someone, that you know who this person is. Very careful with that, okay? But that's kind of the basis of it. It's going to be about you, other people. The 7th house is always about other people and less about you. And maybe people showing you, because Neptune rules mirrors, maybe people coming into your life to show you parts of yourself that you don't really see. So this can be very twin flame energy in that sense, but somebody holding up a mirror to you because you have something that you have to see in yourself. For some of you, that's going to be the case. I'll see you guys in the next one. Good luck. Scorpio and Scorpio rising. Neptune is moving into your 6th house of your work, your health, your routines, your pets. So Neptune here is going to bring you fresh ideas around what it is that you want to be working towards. There can be some confusion with your health. So as Neptune transits the 6th house, you want to look after your health through healing, through meditation, through holistic therapies. And actually you may find yourself called towards spiritual forms of healing, doing yoga, doing meditation, breath work, energy work in order to heal your body. You could just might find yourself being more interested in those things. As Neptune rules your 5th house of fun, you may find it enjoyable to look after your body in a more gentle way. You may also find that you have some sort of mysterious illness, and I don't mean that in a awful way, but you might just find that you get ill and you're not really sure where it came from. You know, that kind of stuff can happen with Neptune in the 6th house. Now, you could find that because Neptune rules your 5th house of business, you could be dreaming big about where you want to take your business. You could be tapping into your creativity. You're having these big ideas around what you want to do for work, or how you want your routines and your schedules to look like. And Saturn's going to come along and help you do this, because Neptune can be like, right, I want to work 4 days a week from 10 till 3 and that's it. But then it's like, okay, but how do you actually put that into place? But there can be a new beginning for you around a gentler method of how you're working, and a more gentle routine around your working schedule. Neptune can dissolve routines and schedules that are no longer working for you. If you're working too much, if you're working too hard, Neptune can kind of dissolve these things in order for you to actually be living in alignment with a true work schedule. You could meet a lover at work. You could meet somebody at work. You could start working with a loved one, with a partner, also possible. What else do I want to say about that? Breakthroughs in your health, or for example, if you've had a health problem up until now, again, it's starting something new around your health, probably leading back to what I've already said about holistic healing is also possible, working with holistic healers to heal yourself. This is your co-workers, the people that work with you. Having a more gentle approach to your working environment is possible. Just wanting your working environment to be good for you, you know, being like, I want my working vibes to be good, and being sensitive to your working environment, you may find. Children having an effect on your health, you know, making sure that they're not stressing you out, that kind of thing can come up as well. But really, this is about shifting your schedules, shifting your work environment, and having dreams around what it is that you want to create. So for some of you, actually, yes, you can also be going into yourself some form of spiritual healing as your job. Saturn's going to come along as well. So maybe you are going to be moving towards working as a spiritual healer, working as an energy healer. Especially, you know, Scorpio, you're going to be very good at that anyway. So you're going to be moving into a modality of healing other people and working with the less fortunate as a form of as your job. That can definitely be true for some of you, especially as Saturn comes in, a new job around spiritual healing for some of you. Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. Neptune is moving into your 5th house. This is your children, your creativity, your love life. Neptune is what we dream, what we imagine, what we are, you know, creating. It's very creative. And actually, this is going to be a bit of a fun transit for you, because this sign trines you. The 5th house is romance. It's like I said, it's creativity. It's what we do for fun. So Neptune here can bring you more romantic and creative ways of having fun. So whether it be that you're going to be going regularly to the cinema, you're going to start a crafting, you're going to be crafting from home, you're going to be finding new ways to have fun in terms of creative endeavors. And it's going to be something new with Neptune in Aries. Something, yeah, like creative. So for example, for some of you, it could be that you're starting like an arts and crafts class or something like that, or expressing yourself in a fun way. There can be some dissolving of relationships for some of you, relationships that are no longer serving you. And especially because Neptune was your 4th house of home, there's going to be a dissolution around your relationships and your home environment for some of you, where things are not working. And you might not really know what's quite happened, because Neptune, we don't know. So things are disappearing, things are falling away, and you're not quite sure how this has happened, and you might be feeling confused around it for some of you. There's also an element of things to do with your children. So for some of you, these big ideas around children and the life that you want to create in terms of your home, and, you know, I want to have this life for my children. this could also be showing up in your child's life, a child moving into something creative and something spiritual, a child having this spiritual awakening is possible. But because Neptune rules your fourth house, again, changes within the home, maybe a child moving away, or yeah, a child leaving the home. Neptune, I'm thinking of like a child like floating away, disappearing off. That can be the case for some of you as well. But really this is going to be, yeah, like creative, having fun, love life. If for some of you this can be that you meet, if you're single, you meet somebody that's very spiritual. You meet a new partner that's very spiritual, a new partner that's very gentle, a new partner that's very Neptunian. So maybe like somebody that's kind of like a Piscean type energy. You meet them, or you get in a relationship with somebody like that, somebody that lacks boundaries, or somebody that is very gentle and spiritual. That's also possible. What else do I want to say about that? Mostly this is going to be fun. If you run your own business, you can use your intuition, you can use any psychic gifts or spirituality to help you create in terms of your business. You could be the person that's going into like, I don't know why I'm just thinking of like, yeah, the performing arts. For some of you, going into performing arts and tapping into that Neptunian creativity, but it's going to be something you've not done before because it's moving into Aries. Putting yourself out there is possible. I think that's all I want to say for you, Sag. So I wish you luck for this transit. Capricorn. So Neptune is moving into your fourth house. Okay, this is your home, your family, where you live, family members. This is your ancestry, your past. So this is dissolving of your home as it is in some way. Saturn is going to come along as well. So for some of you, there's going to be an element of knocking things down, knocking walls down. Maybe you've got big ideas and aspirations for your home, big dreams for your home, how you want your home to look, how you want your home to be. There can be some confusion within the home, confusion around family members. Some family members could be struggling with in illness. Confusing illness, maybe they're struggling with their mental health in some way, and therefore you would have to be there for them a little bit more. But for a lot of you, there's changes within the home, like I said, restructuring, reorganizing, dissolving of how things are at the moment. So this can be like moving around furniture, moving around walls. Saturn's going to come in, building your own house, having dreams about your home and your ideal living situation. And then Saturn's going to come in and you're going to be like, right, how do we put these dreams into reality? Saying goodbye to a home. So it could quite literally be that you're moving. Some of you, at some point, you might be moving with this transit. Now, what else do I want to say about that? Because Neptune rules your third house. So yes, there could be changes to your neighborhood, changes to your neighbors, which is affecting your home, changes with your siblings, communication and conversations changing within the home, the way that you communicate, the way that you connect, the information you're taking on about your home or in your home changes to this. Changes to your mind and how your approach to your home environment, and there could be a new beginning with Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries in your fourth. There can be a new beginning around how you show up in your home, how things occur in the home. Neptune rules your third house. Sorry, I'm just kind of trying to get an intuitive feeling around the way that because Neptune rules this is how you travel, this is how you get around. So changes within your working of, if you work from home, there could be an element of change and being more open to working from home more, and therefore that's going to affect your routines and how you kind of get to work. Working from home more, I think I've just said that twice, but you know what I mean. Changes within your home working environment, tapping into your emotions, really understanding your emotions and having empathy for how you feel and your own emotions is possible. Feeling more spiritual on an inward level is also possible for some of you, and this can be a sense of learning about your ancestry, taking on more information, digging a bit deeper into your ancestry and into your past ancestral behavioral patterns, you know, your ancestors, how did they behave? What's up the lines of your family? And actually digging deeper into that, going deeper into that is also possible for some of you. So I wish you the best, Capricorn, and I'll see you in the next one. Aquarius and Aquarius rising. Neptune is moving into Aries in your third house. So this is a brand new beginning in the way that you communicate, the way that you connect, the information you're taking on, what you are learning, and things to do with your siblings and your relatives. Neptune rules your second house of finances. So there is an element of how you're earning money and the information and how you're talking to people about money coming in. So big dreams, big creative. This is a big creative mind. This is you being able to write, to blog, to write poetry, to journal, to heal yourself through written and spoken word. Connecting with others in the community on a spiritual level, connecting with other spiritual creators that are in your society, dissolving of thought patterns that no longer serve you, Aquarius. Dissolving of thought patterns, especially around your self-worth and your values. Maybe your values are changing and there's a fresh start in, like I said, how you're connecting with your environment, whether it be could be your clients, having a more gentle approach to your clients, dissolving of clients, dissolving of ways that you're making money with the people that you're talking to. There's a dissolution and something changing and shifting around the people that you're connecting to, and it could be people that you're making money from. Making friends with more spiritual people, like I said, joining a spiritual group, whether it be you know, a local meditation, yoga group, just feeling more called towards that energy healing, but you're doing in a place of connection with other people. Changes to your routines. You might find that you get confused. Like if you're running errands and you're driving here, there, and everywhere, finding yourself getting lost and confused a bit more, not seeing things clearly, you know, you're taking the wrong turn. That can be like an ongoing thing of just being a bit confused when you're here, there, and everywhere. Conversations with people, just be careful about your connections with others, because this can be a sense of people not being honest. The people you're connecting with, you may attract people that are not honest. You're either attracting spiritual people or you're attracting people of deception. So be careful when you're online and you're on your laptop and you're on your phone, because this can draw in people that might deceive you, scams, that kind of stuff can come, because third house is information, it's computers, it's who we're speaking to. Neptune is the trickster, as we know. Generally, that's just kind of a background thing just to be careful of. Confusion when it comes to your siblings and your relatives, maybe certain relationships dissolving, or you're getting a stronger and more gentle and spiritual connection with a sibling or a relative. That's also possible. Yeah, connecting with, having to connect with a sibling or a relative on a deeper level. Changes to your neighbors, so neighbors disappearing and you don't know where they've gone, or just certain neighborhoods kind of being removed from your life. That's also possible. Losing your phone, losing your keys, that kind of stuff can come up, because Neptune rules your second house of your possessions. Because there can be an element of you're driving around, you've lost your keys, you know, again, it says confusion, but mainly this is going to be about learning something spiritual, opening your mind to spiritual matters, communicating in a gentle and a poetic way. So, you know, writing, publishing something, writing a blog, tapping into creativity of the mind, definitely possible for some of you. And you might not see what this is straight away. It might be further down the line where you start to realize how this is kind of showing up for you. So good luck, Aquarius. I'll see you in the next one. And Pisces, Neptune is moving into your second house. Neptune has been in your sign since 2012, causing you to, you know, maybe escape from reality a bit too much, be more empathetic, be more gentle, lack boundaries for some of you, but Saturn's been helping you perfect that. Neptune's moving into your second house. So this is about your finances. This is about your finances disappearing from you. This is about your finances dissolving, or things that you're spending money on Maybe you don't really know where the money's going. This can be an element of Neptune's just kind of dissolving your finances in a way. And maybe it's dissolving a way that you earn money that's no longer aligned with you. Neptune rules you. So your identity could change as you were starting to maybe really question what your values are and what your possessions are, and you're letting go of things that are no longer serving you. So giving things away to charity, you may find yourself giving things away to charity, having clear outs, and actually wanting to be charitable with your possessions and wanting to be more generous and more kind of giving with your money in some way and with your resources. That's also possible. But it could be that you're earning money from a spiritual way. So you know, for some of you, if it's a new job, earning money through a spiritual modality, through energy healing, through you know, I don't want to keep using the same examples, but I will, through, you know, if any of you work with energy, so if you work with Reiki, shamanic healing, if you're a healer, if you're a reflexologist, any of this kind of energy stuff, you could be moving into a profession and that's what you make money from. A change in your values, a dissolution. Neptune dissolves things. There can be a real dissolution around what it is that you value, because you're actually realizing that what true value comes from. True value comes from you know, love and kindness, and not from necessarily material possessions. So there can be a sense of your values changing or dissolving in some way. You might experience a job change, and therefore that's why your finances are going to be a bit confused, or maybe you're going to be confused about how you want to make money. But this isn't a sign of Aries, so it's a new beginning. So you could actually be fantasizing about money, fantasizing about your money goals and how you want to make money, and you've got all these big dreams around, wow, I want to win the lottery, I want to win this, I want to spend this. But it's like, how are you going to get there? Well, Saturn's going to come along and it's going to help you get there, and it's going to teach you some lessons, and it's going to be a reality check around money. So there can be a bit of just a lot of emphasis around what you're spending, where your money's coming from, and big dreams and aspirations around your finances and how you are going to get there, Pisces. Maybe you're really being more gentle around your self-love and speaking to yourself kinder. Maybe after what you've been through with Saturn the first, you're really starting to value yourself, and you're starting to speak to yourself in a kinder and more gentle way, because the second house is our self-love and our self-worth. It's 111. I'm going to give that to you. So you are speaking to yourselves in a kinder, more gentle and more compassionate way, and you would benefit from clearing out your resources or possessions for charity or giving to people more. You would benefit from giving to people more under this energy. What else can I really say about that? I think this is mainly about having big aspirations around your finances. And then when Saturn comes along, just having to really ask yourself, okay, how am I going to get there? And you just may feel called towards, dreaming big around what it is that you want to earn, and what it is that you're really, truly worth. So that is the end of the video. I hope you got some value from that, guys. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't lose me in the abyss of YouTube. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.